Mr. Phillips, are you showing her notes? Mr. Phillips, sit away from the table. Sit away from the table. You cannot coach her, please.
It get noted that if violence is the result of this, that we tried to make another show of me on YouTube because I lied on documents, but it was a mistake. When my husband person and he's sitting in prison and I have nobody anymore.
Well, if your husband goes that route, then he'll...
When I kill myself because they're talking about my way.
If you, Miss...
GT is going hot with a story out of Coweta County, Georgia. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe to include smashing that notification bell. On December 2nd, 2024, Mr. Phillips attempted to have Russell with Georgia Transparency jailed for harassment. Let's rewind the clock to March 25th, 2024, just after a city council meeting where Charles Red Phillips and spouse Taylor Phillips were appointed to City of Grantville committee boards. Outside after the meeting, Taylor stated that Russell was a pedophile and to go look up the records of
You're
her.
a pedophile.
I'm a pedophile?
Yes.
Wow, what's your basis on that?
Stop talking to him.
What?
Talking to him. Well, you stop talking to her. No.
I'm a pedophile.
Well, Russell, go fucking pull it up, Russell.
Do you got... Pull it up? Where have I been charged for pedophilia?
According to OCGA, one must provide an opportunity to the person making such statement an option to retract such statement. 3 attempts over approximately 8 months were submitted to Taylor. Mr. and Mrs. Phillips both claim the service to retract was harassment. A warrant application was applied for in the Coweta County Magistrate Court against Russell. To include Russell filed a lawsuit against Taylor in the Coweta County Superior Court. The hearing erupted into chaos with Mr. Phillips's inability to control his emotions. To include Magistrate Judge Robert Stokely catching Mr. Phillips attempting to coach the witness.
Mr. Phillips, are you showing her notes? Mr. Phillips, sit away from the table. Sit away from the table. You cannot coach her, please.
Taylor openly admitted that she lied on a Grantville application to be appointed to a committee board. Taylor also goes on and states that she is afraid that her husband will turn violent against Russell, and she is afraid that her husband will hurt Russell.
To make another show of me on YouTube because I lied on documents, but it was a mistake. When my husband person and he's sitting in prison and I have nobody anymore.
Well, if your husband goes that route, then he'll...
When I kill myself because they're talking about my way.
If you, Miss...
So let's get into the court hearing.
Your Honor, like last time, if you don't mind, we don't have any private recording during the hearing.
No recording.
Thank you, sir.
Nobody can record video or audio.
That is on though, right?
Yeah, our audio and video is on, right, Shaquita? If anybody wants a copy of it, yeah, they can request a copy. Judge Stripling handles that. I wouldn't know how to retrieve it if you stuck a gun to my head and, threatened me with whatever. I don't even know where it's warehouse at. All right, so we got. I assume Ms. Taylor, Mr. Taylor, your warrants are the same, just one for each one of you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I've gone over everybody's rights. Anybody have any questions about their rights to counsel? And everybody's going forward without an attorney. Is that right, Mr. Phillips? Ms. Phillips?
Yeah.
Mr. Pickering?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Going forward without an attorney today does not mean you can't secure counsel for any future proceedings. You're not locked out.
I'll go ahead and go, Your Honor.
All right.
What's the question?
Mr. Charles Phillips, do you promise and affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Give me the short, snapshot version, and then we'll expand out from there.
Yes. If you remember, we were in warrant here back in
I don't carry this stuff around.
Had to do with...
I remember y'all were here before, but I don't remember for what or when.
Had to do with disorderly conduct.
Well,
and
we don't need to go back over that. Tell me what you're here about today, complaining that he broke a law.
so since then, we have been repeatedly harassed through email, directly from Mr. Pickering, with several cases of us asking him to stop and not contact us again. With complete disregard on his behalf, continue to do it. Not only that, but there's a chain of events that follows his YouTube pages and Facebook pages that we've gotten direct harassment through also. We have documentation to show that quote-unquote Georgia Transparency sent us. So it's pretty extensive, but at the same time, we've got probable cause and we've got reasonable doubt.
Well, I'm not here about reasonable doubt, and I'll decide probable cause.
Yes, sir. One's just larger than the other, but we're comfortable moving forward today with direct harassment from him or anything.
You're what?
The direct harassment from him.
Well, so I guess you're claiming that you're saying he's sending you emails?
Yes, sir. We got emails, and like I said, not to mention the following base that quote unquote states that he has sent them. It's intimidation tactics, Your Honor. Tactics that Mr. Pickering is fully aware that can either go one or two ways. Either we can be in fear of him and leave him alone, let him progress government the way he chooses to, not really sure of his point of view of that. Or two, that someone will end up acting violent. And that's what
Well, there doesn't need to be violence.
So there's not. That's what we're here for, just justice on the end.
Well, have you tried blocking his emails?
So I'm not sure how to block emails. I know I barely block telephone numbers. I'm 42 years old. I'm right there on the cusp of getting into that technology and not. Honestly, Your Honor, the way the law states it is that we have already asked him to not contact us anymore, that we deemed it as harassing. He acknowledged that, but carelessly continued the same harassing.
So during what time period did he contact you?
We have got it beginning back in April through email, with a gap between April and November, picking up again twice in November.
Excuse me a minute. I got to take this call. Be right back. All right. So you were telling me, Mr. Phillips, that Mr. Pickeron's been emailing you. Has he been calling you on the phone?
He's stuck to email and Facebook message. Your Honor, we know he's gotten our replies.
He's gotten what?
We know that he's gotten our replies to not contact us.
Okay, but I just want to narrow down. It's Facebook,
emails and social media, text messaging.
Okay.
That's only direct from him.
Okay. Has he come up to you in public or private or?
No, so we've offered in the past that if Mr. Pickering had some kind of issue that way, that he did come in person. He has obviously opted for that. He chooses more to just harass us from the other end of the line.
Well, okay. My question is, he hasn't shown up at your house or your business. He's not standing out on the street yelling at you.
No, sir, it's not.
Y'all might run into each other in some public place, but it's
Not
been.
personally.
Well, I'm talking to him right now. I'll give you a chance in a minute, okay? One person at a time, please. So I'm just trying to clarify.
He has not, but that's the word, is when.
Okay, well, okay. I'm here about what he's done, not what he might do.
Understood.
So it's email and Facebook.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. I just want to be sure I understand the picture. All right. So what are these communications about, Mr. Phillips?
Mr. Pickering wants to get a public apology from my wife for calling him a pedophile. That is his angle of approach to this. Again, we see it as just intimidation to us. When we were in court back in April, that was something that she was questioned by Mr. Pickering about on video that he did post later on to the public.
Well, I don't want to go back into that hearing. I don't want to go back into that. This is since then. I want to stick to the harassing communication. All right. Well, we don't need to keep referencing that hearing, okay?
I need to reference that so you know where I'm going.
Well,
Mr. Pickering has gotten that correction already, and he knows that. He knows that in open forum that the correction has been made, and in his own statement in his own letter right here, he stated that himself. He did not need a public apology from her. He wanted one, and he was going to harass and intimidate her until he got it.
All right. And so, did he send this to your email
The
address?
shared email, yes, sir.
Oh, y'all got shared.
Because it's my wife.
Okay, you got, well,
She's not tied out to any of my emails. It's
All right.
nothing personal between any of us.
right. Some people do that. We don't do that at my house.
My wife's not affiliated with our business any. She helps me out a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means my wife.
But is the Facebook account shared too, or is separate?
She is able to get on the Facebook.
Well,
account also.
that's not my question.
The Facebook message that he did send me that I'm accused to present in court today is on my personal Facebook.
Okay. All right. So you and her share an email.
Yes, sir.
You don't share the Facebook though.
Not my personal page.
Ma'am?
Sorry.
She has access
Let me talk to him. I'm going to give you a
It's not
chance.
shared.
Hold on, Mr. Phillips. Hold on, Mr. Phillips.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Phillips, I'm going to give you a chance to be heard, but I talk to one person at a time because too many people talking, 2 ears, one brain. It's easier for me to absorb. But it's okay. Just, I don't want you to think I forgot about you. Haven't forgot about Mr. Pickron. Everybody that wants to be heard here today is going to get a chance to be heard. But I want to do it one at a time, okay? So you share Facebook, you share an email, not a Facebook. Okay, all right. All right. All right. Anything else about the communications other than showing them to me?
Unless we get off of direct communication, and I have a piece of evidence that states word for word, Georgia Transparency sent us. And that's where we get into the rabbit hole. It gets bad after that.
Well,
It's just a matter of...
why don't we talk about, listen, I'm a step-by-step person.
Yes, sir.
I want to absorb step by step. I haven't lived your life. I haven't lived his life. I've only lived my life. Now I'm trying to absorb what's happened in your life. So I want to focus on the emails and the Facebook messages that you have copies for me to look at. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we've already copied that. Have you got a copy of those? Okay. All right. Well, do you have any objection if I look at them?
No objection, Your Honor. I do have questions about the email whenever we get...
Well, you'll get a chance to cross-examine that in a moment. Okay?
Facebook message first.
Don't explain it. I just want to look at it for myself.
Yes, sir.
Part of his contacting you is he sent you a link.
That is what the screenshot of the message is. At the top section of that, it is a link, and then his comment that follows is, let us know how we can do it, Chris. Now,
Well, how are you showing on here that he sent this to you?
when I open that link up, that's what it comes up as, right?
All right. Well, you're saying he sent this link to
He
you,
sent that.
and how are you showing me that?
It says from Georgia Transparency.
No, it's just a screenshot.
His profile picture next to his message.
I mean, I don't understand. This looks like what his page would look like if you opened it up, but how are you showing me that he sent it to you?
Your Honor, I'm not really getting that question. I think this is a matter of...
No, I mean,
crayon out there, you know what I mean?
I think we may have a disagreement on that, Mr. Phillips. In other words, did he send it to you by text message? Did he send it to you by...
Facebook Messenger. I guess I misunderstood your question there. It's a Facebook Messenger, and along with a messenger...
where's the message?
You're holding it, sir. It's a link, and it says...
Where does it show it came to you? Do you have it on your Facebook?
Yes, sir, I do.
In other words, when I send people messages and they send me messages, it shows me sending and me receiving on my Facebook page, and I can screenshot that or possibly print it out. But this doesn't show he sent it to you. It just shows Facebook, gtnewsnow.com.
So my question here, Your Honor, for submitting this and the other documents attached to the message is, if we have a pending criminal case that he stood before you on.
We're not going to talk about that. I'm not going to answer that question. We're not going to talk about that.
I have to be able to create a narrative for what's coming.
No, all you got to do is present the messages you say you received.
If this man feels threatened by me in some kind of way, why is he
Mr. Phillips, we're not going to do this, okay? You said you wanted to show me.
Your Honor, I've been asked and I'm trying to.
All right, let me boil it down for a non-lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Slice and time. You've talked about he sent you messages.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to look at.
That's.
Okay, we're not going to talk about this other stuff. I'm not going to let him talk about it. I'm not going to let you talk about it.
All right.
All right? The issue is that
When a person has a course of action, they seem that they're going down this path for you.
Mr. Phillips,
they're going down that path.
Mr. Phillips, I'm here to look at your complaint that he's contacting you without your wish to be contacted. That's what I want to look at.
All right, so further from there, Your Honor, we got April 8th where he sent the first email.
All right?
I think it's a single page, yes. Yeah, that's a single page on that one. It has both his email and our reply.
Do you object to me looking at this email?
No, except you're not getting full email, you're not getting attachments with it.
All right. So you, hold on a minute. The objection is it's not the complete document.
It's a complete document because I'm showing his message. The attached document is what.
Well, Mr. Pickron, are you saying there's more to this than what he's
There's more to
showing?
that, Your Honor. If you can look at the first page at the bottom, there's a little PDF sign and it says GT LED 3 dots NT.PDF. I sent attachments to this and I presented him a copy of the attachments in the discovery before it
Okay,
started.
so he's correct. He did send an attachment, but it's only a letter of him asking her to apologize.
Well, you got to show the whole document.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Your Honor. He's got those.
Mr. Phillips,
Oh, I got you.
Mr. Phillips,
I got you.
Mr. Phillips, look at me.
Yes, sir.
He objected because it's not the complete document.
Then, Your Honor,
And
you're
that's
not telling me to complete my documents that I just presented before. He's talking about an attached document, the same as an attached document was on the message that I just tried to show you and you didn't want to hear about.
Well, you talking about these, hold on a minute, Mr. Phillips, you talking about these two documents?
Yes, sir.
I did want to hear about it. In fact, I asked you to show me how you could show me he sent it to you, and that's when you put your phone up there. So that's an unfair characterization about what I'm doing up here, Mr. Phillips, and I would ask you not to do that. I may not let you do what other people want to do, including law enforcement officers. Sometimes just say something happened and I'm supposed to believe it. That's not how I do business. And in a minute, if he testifies, I'm not going to do it for him. So I did look at your documents. I did look at your phone. And now his objection is that's not the whole document, which is a relevant objection. Do you wish to clear the objection? All right? All right? That's all I'm asking. You want to look at it, Mr. Pickron?
I'm sorry?
You want to look at that? You have any objections to that coming in?
There's a page 2. That's one of 2. That is the correct first page of the document. There's 2 pages.
Page 2 has only his signature on it, Your Honor.
Well, a complete document is a complete document, Mr.
I'm
Phillips.
just trying to make this simple, Your Honor. I apologize. Just because we have so much of it that proves that this man has taken a nationwide following, blasted us as restaurant owners and business owners, and asked that we be attacked. You should see what my reviews look like on my restaurant for people from California, Washington, New York.
Well, that's not what we're here about.
It's not what we hear about, Your Honor.
Okay, well then I'm not going to listen to it.
What we are here about is the intimidation from this man, the harassment from this man, because months and months ago, I stood up in front of his camera. I stood up in front of his camera so my wife was publicly called fat. He is shamed for a past little drug addiction that she's been clean for almost 5 years now. This man has gone out of his way to publicly humiliate and shame both my wife and I. For what purpose do you think? This is intimidation. It's harassment. It hasn't stopped. All we're asking for today is justice. Justice to make a man stop when nothing else is going to make him do it. This man's entire basis of living his everyday life is to show up to another government building and harass and humiliate somebody. I don't want to be, I'm tired of it.
Mr. Phillips, if he wants to show up to government buildings every day, if he wants to show up to government buildings every day, he can.
He can.
Okay, he can come in this courthouse every day that it's open.
He sure can.
He can come into the non-secured areas as much as he wants. He can, listen to me, I'm talking. He can come in this courtroom when it's open as much as he wants. And so can you, and so can I.
I agree.
Okay, if I want to, on my off day, I can go to the Grantville government buildings and walk around and look and photograph if I want to. I can go to Alabama, I can go to North Georgia, I can go to Atlanta, I can go next door to Fayette County, I can go to any government building.
We don't disagree.
Okay, so that's got nothing to do with today. Okay, is it what I choose to spend my time doing? No. Is it what a lot of people choose to spend their time doing? No, but it's what some people choose to spend their time doing, including commercial news organizations like the Newnan Times-Herald, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Fox 5. I mean, you know, like I say, so that's got nothing to do with what, I mean, that's not to do with here today. I'm just saying, if he wants to do it, that's called freedom.
And nobody's going to stop him from doing it.
Well,
I will stop him one way or another from harassing my family and the business.
so are these, so again, these are coming to your, I want to be sure I understand. These are coming by Facebook Messenger or by email?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of the police report, Mr. Phillips, that you provided me? Under the incident data number 1, crimes, incidents, it says harassing phone calls.
But it does correct that on the statement. Following page where it corrects and says.
Well, the question was, do you have a copy of it? I assume this is the same police report that I received.
I made the report and had a copy of it.
That,
I know if I'm back in my hand, it's very short, so we can proceed. I can answer any questions.
go ahead, Mr. Pickron.
Under incident data number 1, the crimes, incidents, alleged harassing phone calls. Were any phone calls made to you?
No, bro.
And then the statement back here upon the narrative that's written by the Grantville Police Department that states that Mrs. Phillips replied to all 3 emails. Is that correct?
Yes, she did, along with me, side by side together.
Then another question I had, which I provided to you in the discovery, who is Bob Collins?
That's not relevant in this case, Your Honor.
What's your objection?
Irrelevant.
Say the question again, Mr. Pickron. I was looking at something on this report in reference to your previous question.
Both had just testified and just said that they both sent the emails back in response. And then my question to them was, who is Bob Collins? Because Bob Collins' name is on the email that came back.
All right. Who is Bob Collins?
Previous business partner.
Okay.
Last October, no longer affiliated with business whatsoever.
Okay. Any more questions, Mr. Pickron?
Do you send emails in other people's names?
Yeah.
Do you send emails from Red Grove Shack at yahoo.com in other people's names?
Wait a minute. All right. You can't talk over each other. You got to let him finish answering the question, and he's got to let you finish your answer. I can't decipher the overlap. So ask your question again, Mr. Pickron, then stop and don't interrupt him while he's answering. Once he's finished answering, if you have another question, you can ask him another question. Okay? Keep the traffic separate, okay?
Do you send emails from redsgrubshack@yahoo.com from any other name other than Christopher Phillips or Taylor Phillips?
There's no time whatsoever that we send an email from Chris Phillips or Taylor Phillips tagging any of it because it comes from Red's Grub Shack. I'm the only officer for the LLC.
Mr. Phillips. I have here, which I provided a discovery, a copy of your application to be on the committee board, to be appointed to the committee board. Is
Hold on a minute. Listen, guys, y'all got to understand something. You'll get a chance to object. I got to hear what he's got to say. I don't know what you're objecting to. So once he's finished, I'll give you a chance to object, and then I'll rule on the objection, okay? Go ahead.
what I provided you in discovery, a City of Grantville Application Commissions Boards, your application to be on the City of Grantville Committee, is everything in this application filled out true and correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
What's your objection?
The case of his harassment. Again, he's regressing someone that's not a public official.
Mr. Pickron, give me a proffer of what that has to do with this
It's got an
case.
email address on here.
Okay. Well, I'm going to direct you to answer the question,
It's my email address.
which is,
redsgrubshack@yahoo.com.
okay.
Well, the question was, is everything you filled out on here true and correct?
What is that? Because as far as my application goes, it's always true and
And
correct.
there's an official city document, I hope it's correct.
Well, we're not going to editorialize Mr. Pickron. Please don't do that. Just like he's not going to do it. I'm not going to try City of Grantville business here today. I'm trying a case to determine probable cause whether you have engaged in some form of harassing conduct with them. I'm going to let Grantville handle their own problems. All right, Ms. Phillips, do you promise and affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
So tell me something different than what he's already told me.
I can't, other than the fact that I'm here today to ask for your help. I need the court's help because I have attempted to ask him to please leave me alone. I made a mistake months ago and said the wrong word, and I've been attacked since then because he just wants me to humiliate myself for his views, for his ego, for his followers. I'm in fear of my life due to the harassing phone calls I've received from his followers. They're coming to my restaurant to treat me the way that the video, it's got all to do with his videos he posts. Every time I call a wall, they tell me that it would be hard to link it back to Russell to keep track of all the harassing phone calls. And we have that, and that's for the civil case we're going for. But I'm here today to ask at what extent, because again, we are not government officials. I volunteered to be on the Parks and Rec Board, and I've not even been able to be a part of that due to his harassment, his attacking. I'm in fear that if it's not him, is it going to be one of his followers because they're angry. The way that they approach us through text messages, on social media, the phone calls, it's threats, it's harassment, and he's not once commented on any of it to tell them to stop doing it. It feeds him and it fuels what he's founded on. And again, I would take accountability for everything if I was a government official, but I'm a citizen that volunteered because of the care of my heart for our community that is trying to become something, and he won't let it. And I'm in fear for my husband because he sees me suffer. I suffer from depression and anxiety, and I've been attacked, I've been name called, and I get that it's just name calling, but mental health is real. And I'm doing everything that I can to move forward from the incident in April when I called him, the mistake that I called him, the pedophile. I meant to say predator. He is a predator. That's what he is doing. He is taunting. He is violating. And if we can't get help in the court, I fear that my husband is going to resort to violence, because what else do we do if we can't get you guys to tell him to stop harassing us? Because again, when I come to court in March for my husband's hearing, I did on stand take back my statement and apologize that I made a mistake. And he posted that on his Facebook page for Georgia Transparency, so that was his public apology. He just wants me to get up and humiliate myself more? Is that what it is? I just don't understand who would do this to someone. I'm just a mother and a wife. I'm not a public official. I mean, that's all I really have to say, Your Honor.
Okay, and you are co-introducing these documents that Mr. Phillips had previously introduced?
Pretty, yes, it's just all of
Okay.
them.
All right. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Pickron, do you have any questions to ask Ms. Phillips?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right.
The same thing about-
Again, let him finish asking the question before you try to answer, and let her finish answering before you ask any more questions, okay?
Are you affiliated with Red's Grub Shack at all?
It's my husband's restaurant.
No, I'm sorry. Are you how is your affiliation with it?
He's my husband.
Well, Mr. Pickron, I don't know that that has any relevance to the issue here at hand. I would take it that she probably goes by there and eats or helps out or whatever. Excuse me. Go ahead, Mr. Pickron. Let's.
And everything in your application to apply for a Grantville committee position, is it true and correct information?
It's not Russell.
It's not true and correct?
Not all of it.
Well, I don't
But
know.
my mistake, I do object to the question because, I mean, I'm mistaken, but
I'm not going to get into that. Excuse me.
No further questions on that, Your Honor.
If you've got a question about the email on there, that's relevant to this case. Hold on a minute, Mr. Phillips, you can't, Mr. Phillips, when I'm talking to you, please stop talking. One witness can't coach another one. The witness is taking a test. They have to take it alone. If she had an attorney, the attorney couldn't tell her what to say or how to say it.
That's not what I'm doing, Your Honor.
Well,
He's using your court.
Mr. Phillips, you are to sit there and not interfere with the examination of the witness. If you do it again, I'm going to have you removed to another location in this courtroom. Okay? She can't help you. You can't help her. She's got to take the test by herself.
Ask you a question.
No, sir, you can't. I'm not here to answer questions. I'm here to...
I would like to object, honestly, because what is the...
Well, I've already sustained your objection to the relevancy of the application, so I'm going to strike the question and any answer you gave.
I mean, for record, can I say that the reason I objected and stated that the reason it is not correct is because I made a mistake where it says occupation of I put owner of Red's Grub Shack. That was a mistake. I just want that to be noted for record.
Well, you just undid the sustained objection, so the record stands.
Please.
No, it's not your turn. You don't get to help your wife. Sorry.
I'm not trying to help the wife.
Well, listen. I don't need you to say another word right now, okay?
Sir.
All right. Do you have any more questions?
Oh, yes, Mrs. Phillips, pertaining to the police report that was filed on November 20th. I see that, I guess on that date, November 20th, I guess what was your home address on that date?
I object. What does that have to do with the harassment? That's what we're here for, is just harassment, not my home address.
Tell me why you think that's a matter the court needs to consider what her address is.
That the information on the police report could possibly be false information.
Well, she didn't make that report, and officers sometimes get stuff wrong. They hear 2 or 3 people or more talking, and they then go and write a report from memory often. Some take notes, but I'm not going to stick her with that police report. So I sustain the objection. Any more questions, Mr. Pickering?
In the 4 emails that were introduced, inside the emails.
If you can, Mr. Phillips, could you please stop rattling the paper while we're conducting a hearing? Go ahead.
Mrs. Phillips, in the 3 emails, is it 3? Yeah, 3 emails that was submitted to you. Inside those emails, the body or the attachment was anything threatening in nature that I'm going to do some type of harm to you.
Yes.
Can you please show that? Can you please show that to me then, where it says I'm going to do harm to you?
I feel. You asked me, do I feel if any of that is?
No, that was not his question. His question was, and I'll clarify it from the bench. His question was there anything in there that stated he was going to harm you? That was his question.
No, there was nothing in there that stated
Okay.
he was going to.
I realize you may have felt something, but his question was not what you felt. It was there language in there threatening harm?
I just said no, Your Honor.
Okay. Any more questions, Mr. Pickering?
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Phillips, do you have any more testimony you want to offer at this time?
Your Honor, I just hope that you can see with his questions that, I mean, most of them are not pertaining to what we're here for. It's because he's coming to pick that video up and he's going to post it on his YouTube page and make a mock of me. And I mean, people kill themselves from depression and anxiety every day.
Well, I have addressed your objections. I sustained them for the most part. One I sustained that you went ahead and offered. Mr. Phillips, are you showing her notes? Mr. Phillips, sit away from the table. Sit away from the table. You cannot coach her. Please sit on the back bench, right on that front bench right there. Okay? I ask you to stop coaching the witness.
My wife feels intimidated.
Mr. Phillips.
I got this. Okay.
Mr. Phillips, I ask you to stop coaching the witness. Okay? And you defied me. I could hold you in contempt, but I'm not going to, because I'm not going to make this any broader of a mud puddle than it already is. Do not interfere with her testimony or presentation again. If you do, you're subject to being held in contempt. Do you understand me? When it's your turn to speak, I'll hear from you. Otherwise, you're not to speak. Okay? Ms. Phillips, do you wish to say anything else?
I'm just asking for help from you, Your Honor, and from the court. I don't understand at what extent we've asked him to leave me alone. We've asked him to leave us alone. We're here asking you guys to tell him to leave us alone.
Stop calling us you guys, okay?
I'm not good at this, okay?
That's not how we do things here,
I
okay?
apologize.
All right.
I do, but at what point in time does it get noted that if violence is the result of this, that we tried, we have begged and pleaded. Like, it's not just Russell Pickering. I mean, we're trying to take one target at a time. We're here for this, and then we have other things we're trying to work towards. We're being attacked from Georgia Transparency. All of his followers. They're threatening to come to our restaurant and rape me, Your Honor.
Well, I hope you're making a police report about that, and I hope the police are following up on that.
They tell me it's from a California number, and they call from unblocked. There's nothing they can do.
Well,
There's no way they can tie it back to him, but we know it's him. And even with the questions that he's sitting here asking, he's only worried to make another show of me on YouTube because I lied on documents, but it was a mistake.
well, I'm not sure that's
But
something
you were familiar with
that I would find. I'm not sure what you are alluding to would be something is issuable. You know, if Grantville wants to get twisted up about it, so be
I
it.
mean,
You
I
know,
just don't understand. I don't understand what we have to do. Like, I'm serious. We have children at home. And, I mean, I go to work for my husband to help him run this restaurant, and we have lost business because of him. And because of what he takes pride in doing. This is a joke. This is a show for him. But we're suffering. And I'm not a public official of any government. When does he get told to stop? When? When my husband hurts him and he's sitting in prison and I have nobody anymore?
Well, if your husband goes that route, then
So when I kill myself because they're talking about my way.
if you, Miss Phillips, if you're serious about that,
I didn't say I wanted to kill myself. I said that I suffer from anxiety and
well, I understand, but now you're talking on some grounds that, you know, puts me in a difficult position. Miss Phillips, look, I'm going to encourage you to, you know, talk to a professional about your feelings. Okay, I'm not a professional. And I can't help you deal with those feelings, but there are professionals that very well may be able to, and I'm going to urge you to talk to someone, because obviously you're upset about this, and I take note of that. But I can't help you with your feelings.
I'm in fear. It's not my feelings, it is fear.
Well,
they are harassing us. And if it's not him, these messages say Georgia Transparency sent me. He is the founder of Georgia Transparency.
but are you talking about these matters? These matters here?
The emails of the personal harassment to show proof of personal harassment. We're trying to take this to a different court for the harassment of Georgia Transparency. We know you can't help us with that. This is personal harassment.
Okay. Well, I'm willing to listen to whatever evidence you got related to Mr. Pickron in whatever capacity he may be.
And again, I'm not really too sure if that has much relevance to do with the personal harassment from him, but again, that is his page, Georgia Transparency. They sent us, and I mean, that's what all this is harassment. And so, I mean, because he knows how to play his cards right and make it look professional, he doesn't get held accountable for telling these people to pretty much come and harass us. And
I've heard about Georgia Transparency enough to know, you know, that is his, I'm not sure if it's Facebook or whatever, but it's his.
It's his social media.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
And so, but for someone to say Georgia Transparency sent me.
No, that's just the only one that I can find at the moment. I mean, again, every time that they would call the restaurant and threaten to come rape me or eat me up or treat me like the hoe that I am, they would call from unknown numbers. And every time I would call the law, they said there was no way they could link it back to him. But when they call and I answer, they say Georgia Transparency sent us. I mean, it's just some of his videos that he records and posts on his page.
Well, do those videos have anything to do with you?
I mean, they're videos of me and my husband, yes. And what stemmed from this, when I called him the pedophile, months and months ago. That's the only thing I've ever said to this man. And it was a mistake. And I've been retracted my statement. I want to be left alone. I want my husband to be left alone. I want my business to be left alone because, again, I would like to submit this. This is what Georgia Transparency's whole foundation is based upon. I'm not a government official or a public figure. I am a citizen. And I'm supposed to be protected from people like him. And I'm please begging the court to understand this is what he wants. Me to sit in here so they can laugh at me when he gets back on his YouTube page and says all these horrible things. I go back to help my husband at the restaurant tomorrow, and I guarantee you will have numerous phone calls. Numerous phone calls. This doesn't stop unless somebody with authority tells him to leave us alone. Because again, I'm sitting here now, Your Honor, making a public statement that when I said he was a pedophile, I was under the assumption at the time I used the wrong terminology. I meant to call him a predator. We are here because I called him a predator and he wants me to apologize.
Russell Pickron, do you promise and affirm to tell the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, please proceed.
This year, there's no elements that a crime was committed, about to commit, or in the commission of. Nothing fits the elements of any crime. And then also, according to OCGA 51.5.11 in the Georgia State Code, regarding retraction of defaming statements can mitigate.
Well, I'm not, Mr. Pickron, I'm not here about whether she made a defaming statement, whether she's retracted it or not. That's apparently you've already filed suit. That will be for that court to decide. So okay. I'm not here for that.
All right, so then the emails that were sent were in reference to that, Your Honor. I have case law I'd like to present to you that I have highlighted that without the intent to file or to get Mrs. Phillips to retract in writing, then this is one, Mathis versus Cannon, Supreme Court of Georgia. I highlighted the portion on there for you, Your Honor, and also Williams versus Lucas in the court.
Objection, Your Honor. No relevance to this case of harassment.
Well, I haven't found harassment yet, and secondly, he's offered case law that may, be a legitimate defense. So your objection is overruled. Whether the case law applies or not, I'll decide that once I look at the case law.
And then also, Your Honor, the Court of Appeals in Georgia in Williamson versus Lucas. Again, the plaintiff failed to provide a notice in writing, therefore lost any sort of punitive damages.
Well, again, I'm not here to try the defamation case.
Oh, I know, Your Honor. I'm giving you that. That's the reason why I sent the emails. That's the reason that the emails were sent, to protect my right to sue in accordance with that, with the Chapter 51. Again, imposing no elements of a crime has been committed. Protecting my right to sue and giving her a chance and notice to retract. The intent was not to harass, but to comply with the Georgia laws, Chapter 51. Case law supports that. And then also, on November 22nd, the lawsuit was filed, and with a case number in the Coweta County Superior Court. So therefore, there is no intent to harass. I was simply wanting a retraction of the statement that was made, and so I wouldn't have to involve the court. I think I was way more than reasonable by giving her multiple attempts, saying, hey, just retract the statement, we'll go about our day. And then it wasn't, so therefore I have filed a suit that will get litigated on a different day.
Okay. Anything else?
No, Your Honor, just protecting my rights to sue.
All right. Mr. Phillips, you testified first, so would you like to cross-examine Mr. Pickron?
Does anyone else besides you have access to Georgia Transparency? Russell at GeorgiaTransparency.com.
Do you mean the email? I don't understand. You said Georgia Transparency.
Can anyone else access and send the email?
From which email, I'm sorry?
Russell at gatransp.com. Okay, Russell at GeorgiaTransparency.com.
I'm the only one that sends emails from Russell at gatransparency.com.
Are you the only one that can receive emails at GeorgiaTransparency.com?
Yes.
Does anyone else besides you have admin access to Grantville, Georgia Uncensored Facebook page?
Yes.
Who?
Mr. Robert Royce.
Robert Royce.
I'm not sure what that has to do with this hearing, but
Does anyone? It don't matter.
Okay.
Do you receive read the emails on April 4th that replies to them of us not wanting any contact back from you?
I received your replies, yes.
So regardless of your state code for securing your suit, do you believe that supersedes state criminal law that states that after I say you're harassing us and receive contact, you can continue to do it anyway?
Can you say the question again?
Do you believe your simple reasons give you authority to supersede criminal law where I have stated and my wife both do not contact us again? Do you feel like your civil case gives you a right to do that?
Nobody can supersede criminal law, and therefore,
That's all.
Mr. Phillips, let him answer.
Did we, or did we not advise you not to contact us again, or we will be taking out harassment warrants on April 8th?
that was in the email, yes.
Did we not say in that email that we did feel harassed?
I guess if you said you felt harassed, I can't control how you feel.
That you can control whether or not you send us another message at that point, correct?
I can control what legal documentation I need to send out
So you
into this case.
All right, y'all not going to talk over each other. I've made that very clear in this hearing. Okay, you might not like his answer, but once he starts answering, you need to shut it down.
I just spoke too quick, I apologize.
Next question.
So what you're stating to me right now, correct me if I'm wrong, that you did not care about the criminal harassment that we felt like we were going through.
There's no criminal harassment, there's no intent.
All right, I got the point of your question. I got the point of his answer. We can move on to something else.
On November 4th, did you receive the reply to that email? Your second attempt.
I did.
Did we not again at that point in time tell you that we felt harassed and to not contact us again and receive?
Yeah, I'll serve in legal documentation, I can't control how you feel.
Not.
Okay, we're not going to argue.
Do you consider something that you type up and submit to someone without any kind of clerk stamping or court approval a legal document? Or is that when it becomes legal through the court?
Of course I can send you a legal document from an email. It says it in the law.
So it's terminology that you consider legal at that time.
Well, we're getting way off in the weeds here. Look, I've got the emails. There's no question that he sent you emails and what they said. We don't need to keep beating that horse to death.
In your reply, or excuse me, in your second email on November 4th, did you not state in that email, you got my only copies, Your Honor. Correct. But excuse me for not being word for word. But did you not state in that email that Ms. Phillips has already given you a correction, informal setting, where you did obtain video of that and did post it?
No, that's not in the email.
That is not in your statement.
No, it's not in the email.
Are you referring to the highlighted portion that I've already read once?
And also again,
Well, that's not what he said. That's what your characterization in your question is not what that statement says.
the statement says,
Oh, I'm reading it right here. I'll read it into the record again. On April 22nd, 2024, you were called in as a witness for Mr. Phillips. You were questioned if you stated that Russell was a pedophile. You agreed that a prior charge I was charged with was that of sexual misconduct. However, involved no children or minors.
that is a minutes of correction.
Well,
That is minutes of correction.
Well,
It was one, unless you want to write it out for her.
Mr. Phillips, I'm not going to argue with you. You're stating it one way. I'm reading it exactly what he said.
No, I'm reading exactly what he said to you.
Okay, we're not going to argue about it anymore. We've read that section about 3 times now. I've got it. Let's move on, please. You're starting to try my patience a little bit, Mr. Phillips.
It is what it is.
Mr. Phillips, you mouthed off back to me one more time like that, and I'm going to hold you in contempt. Do you understand that?
Speaking of wife.
No. You don't need to be speaking to your wife. You're addressing the court. Mr. Phillips, your under-the-breath comments have not gone without my notice, and I would like for you to stop it. Your wife has not done that, but you have. Okay, you may not like how I rule, you may not like how I conduct court, you may not like whatever, but you're in this courtroom, I'm the judge, and I have asked you to stop doing certain things, and this is my last time to ask you to conduct yourself appropriately without under-the-breath comments or coaching another witness or arguing with the witness. Please just present your case. Do you have any more questions?
Father, I'm just being corrected right now.
Mr. Phillips,
Accept my apology.
Mr. Phillips, you don't need to apologize. Just stop doing it. That's all I want, okay? Everything's good. Do you have any more questions that you want to ask Mr. Pickron?
Do you care none about the feeling of harassment that we felt from your continuous contact with us?
I can't control if and when you feel harassed.
Do you not care whether we feel harassed by your continuous contact with us?
I can't control how and when you feel harassed.
I'm done, Your Honor.
Mr. Pickron, the question was, do you care?
Of course I care if someone's being actually harassed, yeah.
Okay, you're not admitting that you're harassed. I get that, but
Yeah.
you care.
I care that people get harassed, yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, any more questions, Mr. Phillips? Ms. Phillips, would you like to ask him any questions? Okay. Any more evidence either side wants to present?
Sir.
Any more evidence either side has to present before I close the evidence? My view of this case is Mr. Pickron was a little too inclined to try to get an apology from Ms. Phillips, but I do see some merits in his contention that he was doing it in regard to complying with civil tort law about defamation and punitive damages. I'm going to direct you to have no more communication with her other than through any official court proceeding regarding the alleged defamation. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You've made your point. You wanted a retraction. You know, you don't need to keep emailing them and bothering them. Don't email them anymore. Don't bother them. I don't think they want you at their restaurant or food service facility. You know, as far as your service with the city of Grantville, you may be volunteers, but, you know, that comes under working under government, and he has a right to question things about that. If he makes false statements, then, you know, you can certainly seek to take action against him in a civil manner. I'm not going to issue a warrant today, but you're not to contact them anymore.
Your Honor, about that?
Yes.
As far as the civil litigation, you said no contact. What about
You can
doesn't contain an attorney? Have to.
Well, my statement was, and I'll make it abundantly clear, unless you're engaging in proceedings within the confines of that lawsuit, you need to leave them alone. I'd really appreciate it if y'all wouldn't be sitting there packing up while I'm ruling, okay? You may not respect my ruling, you may not respect me, but you should respect the court proceeding. It's still ongoing, okay? I can't prohibit you from engaging in discovery or serving them with documents if they're unrepresented, as you've alluded to. Obviously, if you file anything with the court in that proceeding, if they don't have an attorney, you're required to serve a copy upon them by U.S. mail or some other court-authorized means. I can't prohibit you from access to the courts, but we don't serve people with documents by Facebook and email and text and other means. You know, if you're going to engage in any further proceedings, you need to comply with the Civil Practice Act and the law therein. Please leave them alone. Otherwise, you know, if you want to go to a city council meeting or complain about their service or viability to serve, I'm not saying you can't exercise your right of free speech, but you know,
Podcast videos.
I can't govern his right of free speech, Mr. Phillips, no more than I can govern yours. If you want to get a podcast going, if you want to have a thing like he's got, you're welcome to do that.
With all due respect, Your Honor, you haven't stopped him from harassing us one bit today. You can cease his communication.
Mr. Phillips,
directly.
Mr. Phillips,
Yes, sir.
you're treading on real thin ice with me.
If you're done with me, can I go, Your Honor?
I'm not done yet. I'll tell you when court's over, okay? And while I'm talking, don't interrupt me again. All right? So, that's my ruling. Y'all are welcome to talk to the prosecutors about this. I'll give you your documents back. Please go to Mr. Pickron. You may leave.